Walk into almost any market in the US today, whether it's groceries, tech, travel, or even fast food, and you'll notice something strange. Everything feels more expensive, but more importantly, everything feels more premium. From artisanal food products to higher-priced subscription tiers, from luxury versions of everyday items to upgraded service experiences, businesses across the board are pushing customers toward higher-end options. And this isn't random, there's a deeper shift happening in the US market. A shift where premium everything isn't just a trend, it's becoming the strategy. And once you understand why, you start to see it everywhere. For years, the dominant business model in America was built around scale. Sell more units, reach more customers, compete on price. The goal was simple: go bigger. But that model is starting to break down, and the reason comes down to one thing: costs. Over the past few years, businesses have faced rising expenses across the board: labor, energy, logistics, materials, and even financing costs. Everything has become more expensive to run, and that creates a problem. Because companies can't always pass those costs directly on to customers without risking losing them, so instead of simply raising prices across the board, many businesses are taking a different approach. They're moving customers up. Instead of selling the cheapest option, they're designing their products, pricing, and experiences to push people toward premium versions. Higher margins, better profitability, more control. This is the first real reason premium everything is taking over. Margins matter more than volume. Selling one higher-priced product can often be more profitable than selling multiple lower-priced ones, especially when costs are rising. So companies are rethinking their strategy. Less focus on mass market, more focus on value per customer, and that leads directly to premium positioning. But there's another factor driving this shift: consumer behavior. Even in a tighter economic environment, spending hasn't disappeared, it's changed. Consumers are becoming more selective. They may buy fewer items overall, but when they do spend, they're often choosing higher quality or higher status products. This creates a split in the market. On one end, extreme price sensitivity. On the other, willingness to pay for perceived value. And companies are increasingly targeting that second group, because that's where the margins are. This is why you're seeing more premium tiers everywhere. Streaming services offering ad-free upgrades, airlines charging more for comfort and convenience, restaurants offering elevated versions of simple meals, retail brands launching Pro, Plus, or Elite versions of their products. It's all the same strategy: move customers up the ladder. Another reason behind the shift is branding. Premium products don't just sell features, they sell identity. When a company positions something as premium, it changes how people perceive it. It creates a sense of exclusivity, quality, and status, and that perception allows businesses to charge more, even if the underlying cost difference isn't that large. In other words, premium isn't just about what you're selling, it's about how you're selling it. And in a crowded market, that differentiation matters a lot. There's also a strategic advantage here. Premium customers tend to be more loyal, they're less sensitive to price changes, they're more likely to stick with a brand if they feel they're getting consistent value. That makes revenue more predictable, and in today's uncertain environment, predictability is incredibly valuable. This is especially important as demand becomes harder to forecast. Businesses can no longer rely on constant growth. Consumer behavior is shifting, economic conditions are uncertain, and competition is increasing. So instead of chasing unpredictable volume, companies are focusing on stable, high-value customers, and premium positioning helps them do that. Another major driver is the shift in competition. When everyone is trying to compete on price, it creates a race to the bottom. Margins shrink, profitability suffers, and it becomes harder to sustain the business. Moving upmarket changes that dynamic. Instead of competing on price, companies compete on experience, quality, and differentiation. That's a much stronger position to be in, because it's harder for competitors to copy, and it creates a more defensible business model. But this shift isn't happening evenly. It's creating a divide. On one side, you have premiumization, higher prices, better experiences, more exclusivity. On the other, you have ultra-low-cost options for highly price-sensitive customers. What's disappearing is the middle, the good enough category. Because in a polarized market, being average is risky. You either compete on price or you compete on value, and more companies are choosing value. That's why even everyday products are being repositioned. Coffee becomes specialty coffee. Basic clothing becomes premium essentials. Simple services become experiences. It's not just inflation, it's strategy. And it's changing how businesses design their offerings from the ground up. Another interesting piece of this shift is how it affects innovation. When companies focus on premium products, they often invest more in quality, design, and differentiation. That can lead to better products overall, but it also raises expectations. Consumers start to expect more: better service, better features, better experiences, and that creates a cycle. Higher expectations lead to more premium offerings, which leads to even higher expectations, and the cycle continues. But there's a risk. If everything becomes premium, then nothing feels premium anymore. At some point, consumers may push back. They may look for simpler, more affordable options. They may become more price-sensitive again, and that could shift the market once more. But for now, the trend is clear. Businesses are moving upmarket. They're focusing on profitability over volume. They're targeting high-value customers, and they're building strategies around premium positioning. Because in today's environment, selling more isn't always the best path. Selling better is. And that's why premium everything is taking over the US market. It's not just about higher prices, it's about a new way of thinking, a new way of competing, and a new definition of what success looks like in business. Not how much you sell, but how much value you create and capture from every customer.